can be in any way helpful to the jury in their job. I've certainly...
No, he's standing up.
I will happily...
Mr. Jones, did you know that 12 days ago, your attorneys messed up and sent me an entire digital copy of your entire...
That's what it's from! That's what the memes are from on the internet! Oh my God!
With every text message you've sent for the past 2 years, and when informed, did not take any steps to identify as criminal.
No, I gotta slow down. I'm gonna OD on Schadenfreude right now. This is the most I've ever experienced at once. It's too much. It's like I'm almost seeing stars. Everything is just like, oh, time is dilating. It's slowing down. Holy shit.
That the files contained therein were confidential, attorney-client privilege, and contained medical records of people, a whole variety of...
Absolutely astounding. They're doing this now, of all times. I mean, I guess they had time to confer, sit down, and be like, yeah, that was a whoopsie. Okay, don't worry, we'll get it all retracted. If we can get it retracted, the rest of the world and the jury will forget about it. Yeah, forget about it. So if you want a very quick recap, everybody, if it's your first time turning into the circus, as it was, Alex Jones is on trial right now, being sued by the parents who lost their children at Sandy Hook, because Alex Jones spent a very long time and a very many broadcasts telling everybody that the parents were crisis actors and their children were in fact not real. Weird thing to say to the parents of dead kids, especially grieving parents who are having to suffer through the worst tragedy you can probably conceive for a human being. And yet he did it for a long time, and for money. In the background of his broadcasts, as well as after his shows and everything, he would push Brain Force Plus, DNA Force Plus, Penis Force Plus, just one after the other. So the whole thing is grotesque. It's disgusting. Anyone at this point who ever defends Alex Jones is either unaware of all this and they are just going to be like, I blissfully don't know because I don't learn anything about the person I'm praising, or they are fucking ghouls who will defend someone doing some of the most horrifying things you could do as a broadcaster. And it has been going horrifyingly for him. I cannot stress enough, as long as this trial keeps on going, how bad it has been for Alex Jones. From every single person taking to stand, like, I don't know where they find this fucking clown shoes. Like, never mind a kangaroo court. This is a kangaroo lawyer. I've never seen a kangaroo lawyer quite like this, who is consistently, like, ignoring the judge's instruction when she's straight up like, he cannot talk about this trial to anyone other than his lawyers. Do you understand? Yeah, kinda. I'm a new lawyer, you see. And then she's like, no, you don't get to do that. You don't get to pretend that you're some young lawyer, you know, kid off the street shit. This is an actual trial. You are representing a client. So you have to step it up and do something and listen to my instruction. Is he talking about this trial on his show? I'm unaware at this time. It's like, okay, but we're going to be able to know because there's video of it, because it broadcasts live. And yeah, of course Alex Jones is. Every single day he's going on InfoWars. Oh, you know, Soros and the deep state, they're conspiring against me. They've got all this evidence that's apparently blah, blah, blah. It's all, but he's doing the exact opposite of what he's like. And she's saying that you're going to be in contempt of court if that turns out to be the case. Not to mention right now, we could watch him perjure himself live on air. It's been so good. The representative for Alex Jones, the producer, I think this is, yeah, she's the producer.
And that video is called Creepy Illuminati Message in Batman Movie Hints at Sandy Hook School. That's right? And we also looked at another video that was just a couple days later, 7 days after the shooting. And that one was entitled Sandy Hook Second Shooter Cover-Up. Right?
Yes, sir.
Already
and then
glorious.
We talked about another video that was 2 days after that, on December 21st, 2012, and that was entitled Lower Part of Gotham Renamed Sandy Hook in Dark Knight Film.
Yes, correct.
Okay. And then we talked about how on January 10th, as we turn the new year, there was a video entitled Professor Claims Sandy Hook Massacre MSM Misinformation.
Correct.
Okay. And then we talked about how on January 15th, 2013, 5 days later, InfoWars published a video entitled Sandy Hook AR-15 hoax, question mark, still no school surveillance footage, correct?
Yes.
And then we talked about a video a couple weeks later on January 27th, 2013, and that one was entitled Why People Think Sandy Hook is a Hoax.
Yes.
Okay. And then at the end of the day, we
It just
talked about
keeps
an email
going and going
from
and
the
going.
parents. Do you remember that?
Yes.
What is the title of that video?
Dr. Steve Pachinik, Sandy Hook was a total false flag.
All right, so Dr. Steve Pachinik,
Wow.
Sandy Hook was a total false flag. If I'm correct, Dr. Steve Pachinik.
By the way, before we get to Dr. Steve Pachinik and Sandy Hook was blah, 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 keep in mind that thing that Glenn Greenwald did the other day. Just keep that fresh in your mind grapes, all right? Where he started trying to downplay the severity of all this and saying that, like, some people have said maybe that you are passionate about what you talk about. Maybe that's what was happening. You know, you're a patriot kind of shit. Look how many titles there are. How many videos there are. This is Alex Jones, producer.
On April 9, 2013, InfoWars published a video about Sandy Hook, correct?
Yes.
And that video was called Obama Gun Grab PSYOP.
Correct.
And would you agree with me that
It's just so glorious hearing this stuff read out in a court of law by a lawyer.
okay, the title of that video is not There Are Contradictions That Raise Questions About What Happened at Sandy Hook. The title of that video, if I'm right, is Crisis Actors Used at Sandy Hook. Is that right?
Correct. But oftentimes titles just are meant to grab audience's attention, and then later in the video they get.
Oh, it was clickbait. It was clickbait, everyone. You got baited. That's it. They weren't spreading dangerous conspiracy theories. No. It was clickbait.
Admit.
And then the company was asked, you were aware that this report was publicly available on or about December 1st, 2013. What is the company's answer?
Admit.
Admit.
I think it's important to make a little instruction for the jury at this time. So those questions and answers are part of the process that leads up to trial. And similar to how Ms. Karpova is under oath today as she gives her answers, when the representative for the company answered those questions in writing, it was a sworn answer.
And speaking of that process that happened pre-trial to answer these questions, that's something that you were involved with in the company, helping to answer these things and provide testimony.
Yes.
In fact, not only was the company aware of the report, but it had the report. You agree with that?
Just pretend like you sleep. Just pretend like you sleep. Can't keep asking questions if you pretend like you sleep.
You remember giving a deposition with me, right?
Yes.
On December 3rd, 2021.
Yes, sir.
You were under oath.
Yes.
Do you remember telling me in that deposition when I asked you, do you have an understanding of Mr. Wolfgang Halbig's 16 questions about Sandy Hook? And you telling me yes.
Again, it's just a very vague questions. I generally.
What? You've already answered yes to this. I'm trying to get you on record in this court proceeding. That's all that's happening here. Wow, I didn't know that. You'd already said yes. Did the other lawyer know that before he objected? It's like, have they done discovery? Or did the other team even look at the discovery? You boys, you can just wing this one. It's going to be easy. It's all deep state stuff anyway.
But
We've got video of Anderson Cooper with clear blue screen out there. He's not there in the town square.
And when I was ripping into Glenn Greenwald the other day about how shameless his shit with Alex Jones was, there were people in the replies that were like, did Alex Jones actually say any of this kind of stuff? Did he actually say these kind of outrageous things that you're claiming, Lance?
I'm not the arbiter of ultimate truth. Like you claim.
I'm not the arbiter of ultimate truth. I mean, that sounds like something Alex Jones would say. I'm the arbiter of ultimate truth.
It had the highest lift
I can't wait to see how Daria responds to this one. And don't get me wrong, it's absolutely incredible. This is making my day. You know, it's rejuvenating my soul right now to watch this all unfold in a courtroom. But if you actually want to put yourself in that moment, it's absolutely horrifying. So horrifying that Alex Jones is doing this in the midst of a whole bunch of parents grieving about their dead children. Like making these broadcasts where he's like, oh yeah, the you know, PCP in the water supply, it's a dirty school, the asbestos, the kids are spinning in circles to fake routines and other shit like that.
I'm going to read this to you, okay? It states, last Monday, an organization known as the Independent Media Solidarity released an epic documentary entitled We
Epic.
Need to Talk About Sandy Hook, which they hosted on their own site as well as YouTube. Within hours of the
I also just adore the DNA Force Plus in the background.
video's upload, it was well on its
It's
way
finally
to
back.
going viral. However, its success was short-lived. Shortly after InfoWars began hosting the video, the following Tuesday morning, it was suddenly removed from YouTube due to a copyright claim by Lenny Posner. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And then you'll see in these articles, there are advertisements for the supplements that we've been talking about.
Nice.
Sure.
So basically, there's
Which I know is funny because it's absolutely absurd and ridiculous that, like, this is real life. We're not watching a cartoon right now. This is 100% the real world that we live in. So that part, yes, that's absurd. But it's important to point that out because it directly shows how they're profiting off this shit. Like, it wasn't just ghoulish enough that Alex Jones was willing to say that the kids were crisis actors, that the parents were lying, that they were faking tears, that it was in front of a blue screen, that there were these weird drills, that there was PCP in the water, all of that weird shit. That wasn't enough. He was making money off of it, profiting off this shit. Just the most ghoulish, deplorable behavior you can imagine.
why is Sandy Hook the only event we are not allowed to question? We can have you on Friday for the nightly news. We shoot interviews via video Skype. Thanks, Rob, dude. I read that right?
You read the words right, but the tone you inflict on it, it just supposes that he's being snarky or some kind of condescending to this person, but he isn't at all.
Okay. I mean,
I can read you the email in Rob G's voice if you'd like me.
I don't need you to do a Rob Dude impersonation. Let's go to the next one.
Did she say I could do it in his voice if you'd like? He's not being snarky. Oh my god.
That was the question.
Correct, and I'm sorry, I just can't truthfully answer.
I'm going to assume that's not what you wanted to say there. I'm sorry, I cannot truthfully answer. I'm incapable.
I don't want your apologies. I
Yeah.
want you to have prepared the way I ordered you to prepare months and months ago. And I want you to answer the questions that are asked to you truthfully. So if the answer is yes, if the answer is no, if the answer is I don't know, I just want the answer.
Your Honor, I object to that instruction. Ms. Karpova is not here.
You object to the judge's instruction. I wonder how she's going to rule on this one. What is that? Is that a protest? Like,
I wanted to show you an exhibit. You talked a little bit about stories you publish. You have to publish them fast and get them up on the screen, right?
No.
You didn't? That they come quickly, that there's people, the news is breaking and you have to get it up?
Yeah, that's just standard practice.
I wasn't saying it wasn't. I'm saying that's, you talked about it yesterday, you talked about it a little bit this morning, right?
Talked about what?
The thing I just said.
was your counsel telling you to do the same strategy? To basically be there and be like, It's like, just draw it out, okay? Draw it out. Just always pretend and act like you don't know what he's talking about. Do that a number of times. If the judge gets mad at us, because they probably will if we keep doing that, well, then you just try to say that, you know, none of you actually have to tell the truth, and you don't know if you're ever telling the truth, and the whole thing is basically, it's the audience who has to figure it out, you know?
All right, Mr. Reynolds.
We had some questions about the platforming.
Sustained.
No further questions.
Thank you. All right, for my jury, this is your opportunity to go and write down any questions. You are not to read any report of or comment upon the testimony in the case while under the rule. Any witness or other person violating these instructions may be punished for contempt of court, and it may result in my striking the witness's testimony.
Oh.
Thank you. You may step down. Mr. Reynal, on Tuesday, when you invoked the rule in this case, I also...
He turned a nice shade of tomato there. I think everything, that was one of those like, oh, this is getting pretty real. Uh-oh. Probably shouldn't have gone on all those InfoWars shows and done exactly what you're talking about right now out loud.
So, in addition to reading what I just read the following portion. Counsel, inform your other witnesses that the rule has been invoked and the effect of the rule. Did you hear me say that?
Yeah, a wild
Tuesday?
Alex has been spotted.
Did you follow my instructions?
Clearly not the way Your Honor intended.
Good save. Did you follow my instructions? Well, I mean, you know, in a way, my way. I guess it wasn't your way, but in a way, nonetheless.
Misunderstood based on my experience and my practice.
Because you're just a brand new lawyer, right?
Yeah. The fucking hell. The shade. Oh, man. Sure. Palate cleanse with this.
I will eat my neighbors. I'm not letting my kids die. I'm just going to be honest. My superpower is being honest. I've extrapolated this out, and I won't have to for a few years since I got food and stuff. But I'm literally looking at my neighbors now and going, I'm ready to hang them up and gut them and skin them and chop them up. And you know what? I'm ready. My daughters aren't starving to death. I'll eat my neighbors. See, my superpower is being honest. I'll eat your ass. I will. I'm combat model, optimum self-sufficiency, probably the leader. The point is have you thought about that yet? Because I'm somebody that thought I could fix this, and I'm starting to think about having to eat my neighbors. You think I like sizing up my neighbor, how I'm going to haul him up by a chain and chop his ass up? I'll do it. My children aren't going hungry. I will eat your ass. And that's why I want the globalists to know. I will eat your ass first.
I will eat your ass first. All right, everybody. The time has come. We've all been waiting for it. Alex Jones goes live on the stand. Pretty wild stuff. Let's just see what he was talking about yesterday on his broadcast program on InfoWars to wet our beaks a wee bit.
What do I do, Lord?
Destroy the child. Corrupt them all.
This is their plan, people. These are demons. Just like the Bible says, it's basically an intergalactic invasion into this space through people. I'm telling you, it's what all the ancients said. It's what they warned of. It's what we're dealing with. They're demons. They're frickin' interdimensional invaders, okay? I'll just say it. Make fun of me all you want on CNN or wherever, but everyone already innately knows this. These people are not frickin' humans, okay?
All right, so that's basically what was going on. So let's go right to the trial.
Can be in any way helpful to the jury in their job. I've certainly...
Oh, he's standing up.
I will happily allow Mr. Reynal all of your suggestions. I see that you have a document with you. I don't know if you were here when I explained to a prior witness who brought documents with them that you can't look at any document
Of course. They've broken into their rule.
for any reason while you're testifying until and unless one of the lawyers or myself instructs you to do so. So I'm going to ask you to actually just give it back to Ms.
He brought a cheat sheet. He's got a cheat sheet. He's getting called up by the teacher right now. Oh, wow.
Reynal until he may think you need it, okay?
That's
Understand
fucking
all that?
hilarious.
Okay. While you testify, it is not a conversation. It is a question and
He's
answer.
nervous.
Scarlett Lewis is real, and she's a really nice person, and she's really a sweet person. And then I went through and talked about her ex-husband too, and then I said I believe they're being fed and manipulated. And this is a perfect.
Sustained.
This is a perfect.
That's 2 sustained in a row, by the way. Like, any good lawyer is just going to watch this and be like, okay, there's a million things we can object to here.
Sustained. When you hear sustained, you have to stop talking.
Okay.
Do you feel that the video?
No, non-binary,
was
don't
a
spoil it.
fair
We haven't seen it yet.
representation Of what you meant to convey?
No, it had the front and back. No,
Okay, and why wasn't it fair?
because it had the front and back cut off of it to totally misrepresent the apology at the end and at the first where I said I believe she's a real person and lost her child. So someone edited that and then showed it to her, and then they brought it in here and played it to show it to you. And I think you should ask to see the full.
Oh my god, he's already almost at full Jones. He's tried to temper the Jones. You can see for a while he's just kind of been like a little bit more quiet, a little bit nice and friendly, and a little bit like, well, that's why I want to tell my side of the story. You know, lower drama. Now he's like, and that's why they're lying to you. The corporate media and Soros is probably in the. It's like, God damn it, Jones, no, tone it down. You're getting to a 9.
Full segment.
All right, so now that we've got that out of the way,
Remember day 1 where I said it's an unfair world and you don't get to interrupt the judge? Do you remember that?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. But the judge gets to interrupt you?
Yeah.
Remember that? Yeah. Okay, so you don't really remember what you were not supposed to testify about. That's what I'm hearing, because you said, yes, I remember, no, I don't remember.
Well, I'm trying to remember.
Okay, I don't want you to try and remember.
No, I
I don't want you to try and remember. You either knew or you don't.
I remember him saying, don't talk about the financial stuff or something like that, like a week ago when I asked him. And then I remember today watching part of Heslin's testimony when I was coming here, and him talking.
What did he instruct you to do about your dick pills? Did he tell you? Oh, and make sure you squeeze a little ad for your dick pills in there at the end. Juries love that. Judges too. That'll go over well. Yeah, talk about the dick pills. Talk about how they're superior dick pills. Yeah, say you have the approval of like Japanese doctors on how great these dick pills are.
How dare you attack them on Father's Day? And then I hadn't seen the report yet.
Again, he's hearsay testimonies to other networks.
Sustained, hearsay, sustained. So remember, Mr. Jones, if you heard it, it's hearsay.
Is he grabbing candies?
That's
Oh,
why
a little
they're there.
candy for Alex?
If you
Nice.
heard it, it's hearsay. So TV, that's hearsay.
Are they lozenges for his throat?
There are some exceptions, but I don't think any of your testimony is going to qualify for an exception.
Some exceptions, but I don't understand any of your testimony. I don't think I've ever heard a judge say something like that.
Judge Maya Gamble comes from CPS, who has been exposed for human trafficking and working with pedophiles.
That's what you mean when you say you're taking this seriously.
I take this as serious as cancer. And I
Oh
mean,
my
I don't know
God.
if you show somebody else's clip that they're always a few seconds long. Why don't you play the whole thing?
Mr. Jones, that's not someone else's clip, is it?
Well, I didn't direct it or produce it, what I'm saying. I mean,
You
it's-
certainly published it.
I'm not standing behind it. I have to see the full thing.
So you don't stand by the things you publish about our judge on your show repeatedly, day after
No, I
day.
said I don't not stand behind it. I need to see not just 5-second clips.
Well, we can talk about what you said before that.
Can you
and
play?
after.
How long's the clip? Can you play the whole clip?
Holy
Mr.
shit.
Jones, you're not asking questions today.
Holy
You understand that, sir?
Oh, I thought I could ask to see a full document. If somebody showed me something, I could see what it was.
All right,
This
don't-
is a question from the lawyer, answer from the witness.
Okay.
Not the other way
Oh my
around.
The
God.
only thing I want to ask you about is not all the other weird stuff you said in that video. I just wanted to ask you about the question that I asked you, which you said, no, I'm not saying the judge is connected to pedophile and child trafficking. This is you taking this trial seriously and in good faith? That's what this is?
It's a 5-second clip. I don't know what you've cut off or on.
Does it matter? Is there anything before and after that that would make it great to show pictures of our judge on fire and telling the world she's involved in pedophile? Can you tell me the context that would occur before or after that makes that
I'm sorry.
great? Excuse me, sorry.
I believe, if you're only wanting to go off 5 seconds, I believe the thing is, the judge is the fire burning Lady Liberty. It's not the judge. The judge is consuming freedom.
Do you agree with me, Mr. Jones, that I sure hope some of your viewers are able to make that distinction that you just put on that air, don't you?
The judge is consuming freedom. No, you got it all wrong. We didn't put her on flames because she's a demonic possessed demon. Nothing like that. No, it's actually the fires of liberty rising behind her. As I say that she may be involved in a child trafficking ring. Oh my God. Like, can you imagine being the other lawyer and sitting back and having to sit there and just be like, oh my God, you did not just do that.
All I know is,
Your Honor.
is I take this very serious.
Saying and withdrawn, so stop.
Tell this jury you're taking this trial seriously. Or you're telling the world that someone inside Travis County government rigged the jury summons and picked these jurors specifically who don't know what planet they are on. Correct? That's what you're telling the world.
I'm sorry, I don't know every single trial that's ever happened, but I gotta imagine this has never happened before. You know, just a perfect blend of Alex Jones, him not taking his own trial seriously at all, going on to his show the next day, recording all that shit so it can then be played as evidence against him. Like, just stunning, absolutely stunning. I am floored by that.
And when they were asked during the jury impaneling yesterday, do you believe the media has ever got anything wrong about Alex Jones? They all unanimously said no. So it's people do live in all these different bubbles. And there's the bubbles that are awake and the bubbles that are questioning, but then there's the blue city bubbles where people do not know what planet they are on.
Oh my God. So the jury has to watch him insult the jury.
Jones, you don't like that this jury is made up of blue-collar folk. You think that's wrong?
No, I don't think that.
You don't think they know what planet they're on?
Wow.
I don't remember what you're talking about.
Oh, you just don't remember it all now. Oh God, I'm just going for more water, more lozenges. Oh God, I got it all here. Oh.
One of the things you talked about yesterday is you complied with discovery, right? You said that on the witness stand?
That's one of the things I talked about.
Okay. One of the things that you were...
Like, I'm sure they gave him a little bit of a briefing, and it was basically like, well, you got to appear more sympathetic, so be sure to cough a lot, every now and then, maybe eat a lozenge, have a couple of glasses of water or something like that, talk about how they're taking you out of context, talk about how the clip doesn't represent what you said, talk that, just say you don't know, you don't remember, start saying like those kind of things over and over, just try and confuse everybody, and right now it's just like, oh, I'm pushing all the buttons all at once.
Whose messages are those? Whose phone is this taken from?
I don't know whose phone's taken from. I mean, I turned the phone over and said, take the stuff off.
Can I have you look in the very bottom below the very bottom left corner? Is that your phone number?
Yes. So you did get my text messages. And it said you didn't. Nice trick.
Yes, Mr. Jones.
Oh.
Indeed. You didn't give this text message to me. You don't know where this came from. Do you know where I got this?
No.
Mr. Jones, did you know that 12 days ago, your attorneys messed up and sent me an entire digital copy of your entire...
That's what it's from! That's what the fucking memes are from on the internet! Oh my God! Oh my God, that is so bad! This is the moment.
Cell phone with every text message you've sent for the past 2 years, and when informed, did not take any steps to identify as criminal.
No, I gotta slow down. I'm gonna OD on Schadenfreude right now. This is the most I've ever experienced at once. It's too much. It's like I'm almost seeing stars. Everything is just like, oh, time is dilating. It's slowing down. Holy shit.
Or protected in any way And as of 2 days ago, it fell free and clear into my possession. And that is how I know you lied to me when you said you didn't have text messages about Sandy Hook. Did you know that?
So bad. Oh man. All right. Well, your move, Alex.
I told you the truth. This is your Perry Mason moment. I gave them my phone.
Your Perry Mason moment.
And then,
Mr. Jones, you need to answer the question.
No,
Did you know this happened?
no, I didn't know this happened. But I mean, I told you I gave them the phone over. Just,
But just
And you
answer the
said,
question.
you said in your deposition, you searched your phone. You said you pulled down the text, did the search function for Sandy Hook. That's what you said, Mr. Jones, correct?
and I had several different phones with this number, but I did, yeah. Well, of course. I mean, that's why you got it.
No, Mr. Jones, that's not why I happened.
My lawyers.
That must have been the funnest moment in that lawyer's career, like bar none. Just the setup, getting there, the lead in, and then being able, like, even as you don't hear lawyers outside of movies smile when they talk a lot. They don't break character. It's not a good idea. It's like, no, Mr. Jones, that's not how I got it.
Send it to you, but I'm hiding it. Okay.
Mr. Jones,
Mr. Jones,
please just answer questions. There's no question. Mr. Bankston also only asked questions.
Sure. Mr. Jones, in discovery, you were asked, do you have Sandy Hook text messages on your phone? And you said no, correct? You said that under oath, Mr. Jones, didn't you?
I mean, if I was mistaken, I was mistaken, but you got the messages right there.
Oh, that is savage. That is savage. Fuck. It's a roundhouse kick to the defense. By the defense. Oh my god.
You know what perjury is, right? I just want to make sure you know before we go any further. You know what it is.
Yes, I do. I mean, I'm not a tech guy. I told you I gave in my testimony the phone to the lawyers before or whatever, and so you got my phone, but we didn't give it to you.
No, Mr. Jones. One more time. And please remember, if you need to assert the Fifth Amendment, you can. I need to know that you can do that. But you testified under oath previously that you personally searched your phone for the phrase Sandy Hook, and there were no messages. You said that under oath.
Yes.
And you lied when you said it.
No, I did not lie.
Emails. You testified yesterday you don't have it. You got rid of your email 10 years ago.
InfoWars email.
Oh, so now it's InfoWars. You do use email though, don't you?
Not. It's like household stuff and things like that. But
So it's
I don't personally send emails.
Sure.
My assistant does, and it's for, like, you know, broken sprinklers or whatever.
Okay.
Okay.
So you don't have emails about Sandy Hook. You don't have emails about this case.
You got hundreds of thousands of our emails.
None from you. And I didn't get hundreds of thousands of emails. Most of those, in fact, you would agree with me, nearly every email you've produced to me outside of maybe 100 are emails of Wolfgang Halbig and Jim Fetzer. Because they sent you thousands of emails, right?
I mean, I quit opening email and using it before Sandy Hook.
Okay. So you, in other words, if somebody was to tell me, oh, I have emails from Mr. Jones that he wrote about this case in the past couple of years, that person would be lying?
God,
You're
this
telling
is
the
so
truth?
devastating.
Somebody else has got my InfoWars email because I haven't been using it all.
That's not qualified, Mr. Jones. You know, in this case, you were asked to produce your emails, any emails you had about Sandy Hook. You know you were asked to do that, right?
Yeah.
And you said he didn't have any.
I told my IT people, go, you've got all that stuff.
No, Mr. Jones, I'm saying in deposition, under oath, sworn to God, you said you don't have any emails with Sandy Hook because you don't use email, right?
And you know they do.
I mean, I think I have. I mean, I haven't been using InfoWars email, and it's got to be a decade or
Yeah, what up,
longer
Jim?
in my memory.
I don't.
We're with Infowars.com email.
No, Mr. Jones. No. It's not what I'm asking. You notice when Mr. Watson emailed you, right? He didn't have an InfoWars email address, does he? He has like Paul Watson at sky.com. It's a UK email address. Did you know
Yes.
that? Right. We asked for all emails. And you told us you don't use email and there are no emails for Sandy Hook. That's what you said under oath, isn't it?
There might be. I'm sure there might be like privileged emails where like lawyers are requesting documents or
Privileged
stuff about the
email.
case.
Mr. Jones.
Yeah.
First, objection non-responsive. Did you testify under oath
Sustained.
that you do not use email and that there are no responsive emails relating
Sustained,
to this case? Did you testify to that?
Yes, I personally do not get on the internet and sit there and use email. I never send emails myself
No.
because I don't like it. I can't stand it. There's just too many of them. That's a fact that I don't use email.
Really hope they don't have any emails
I
by
call
you
people on the
then.
telephone.
Okay.
I just don't like them. They get in everything. They're sandy, they're coarse. They get everywhere.
Your Honor, excuse me, Mr. Jones. I'd like to show you this document.
Oh no.
Is that your email address?
Yes.
Did you write an email?
Yeah, well, I'll have to talk to Knowledge Fight in like a while. I'm sure they're gonna be busy as fuck for the next like 3 weeks from this. But yeah, I'll bring them on. Obviously.
Is that an email, Mr. Jones?
Yes, yes.
I need to know what this moment was like for
So
them.
I'm not reading it. This is from. What's this have to do with Sandy Hook?
I'm not asking you a question other than that's an email you sent. Let's start there. Can you do that? Can you say that's an email you sent?
I must have dictated that to my assistant.
Ah, yes.
Okay, so there are, you would agree with me, there are emails. Yeah, little thing, I'm done with that. There are emails that you.
The fucking sass. Why not? Why not? You know, you're fucking killing this right now. Absolutely. Do a little dance, you know? Do one of those fucking, you know, when you've scored a touchdown. Fucking, you know, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Your lawyers, your staff, and others concerning your business operations.
Man, this is
that we
gonna make a
requested
great
for,
movie.
Sandy Hook, other topics that have been requested in this lawsuit, like Zero Hedge. You'd agree those emails, they exist. Do you agree to that or not?
I've dictated emails to people, and you guys have gone and gotten other people to give you their emails. But that is my personal email that I use for personal stuff. Has nothing to do with Sandy Hook, unless lawyers have sent me emails there that my assistant prints off for me.
You talked yesterday about prepackaged food. You remember that? You know what I'm talking about?
No.
You don't remember? Yes.
It's pretty weird. He's completely stopped coughing. He hasn't needed a lozenge. He seems in decent spirits. I mean, that was just, I guess, a little episode, and now things have gone back to normal.
One of the things that I think we've heard a lot of in this courtroom is how you've lost millions, lost everything. And the deplatforming, all of it, has caused you to lose everything, right? You've heard that?
Not everything.
Indeed. Can we bring up this bubble, Melissa?
This is so devastating. All the messages they have in text from his phone because of Alex's own legal team.
$800,000 a day. If you cut that pace up,
Wow.
which I don't know what you did the rest of the year.
$800,000 a day.
One day out of here.
I'm asking you, Mr. Jones.
I gotta start selling
Please let me
pills.
finish my
It's
question.
official.
Can you do that for him?
You know what I'll do? I'll combine all the bestsellers. We'll take DNA Force Plus, Brain Force Plus, what's the other one? Penis Force Plus. We'll combine them all, and then we can make Serfs Force Plus, and we'll start selling those. It'll make us all
To
invincible.
respond verbally so she understands.
Yes.
Type it down. Thank you, Mr. Jones. If you're able to keep up that pace for the rest of that year, if you're able to launch more of these specials and sales, and you can keep going at $800,000 a day, that would come up to an
$800,000
average
a
of
day.
something like $300 million in a year. That's
Wow.
about right?
Gross, yes.
Yeah, that's gross. You don't understand how these things work. There's obviously differences between gross and how much I took home.
Million. And then I think we saw your revenues from so we saw a few months of 2015 on the beginning of that document, right? Do you remember that document you relied on and testified about, Plaintiff's Exhibit 35?
I mean, I saw it, yes.
Okay. And it had a couple of months from 2015 on it, but not a whole lot of sales on that, right?
I believe so.
Okay. So we're mainly just talking about 2016, 2018, right? You remember that? 165 million. You remember testifying to that?
Yes.
Okay. And I know you testified about your profit margins, but I think we've seen that now. That you were saying that that's gross. So that maybe doesn't, we'd have to calculate what your profit is, right? But after seeing,
Sorry, I need a yes or no.
Yes.
but after seeing all of that, all of those millions.
I'd love to see what the text from the stenographer was there. It's like, is that true? Alex Jones grunts. Grunts in the affirmative.
Hundreds of millions. Are you aware that your attorney has argued that this is what you should pay for the damages that your company admits under oath through your corporate representative it caused? Were you aware of that? $1? Were you aware?
Yes, I know we were.
Do you agree with that?
Do I agree with it?
$1. Is that? We done? I'll pay it for you. Are we done?
What does the New York Times do for lying about WMDs?
I don't think there's any point in asking you any more questions.
All right, Mr. Reno.
Fucking mic drop. Mic drop. Hold on.
Next week, I would invite her and Neil. I think she's a great person. I apologize to legitimately. I would love to invite you guys on the show regardless. So you can actually come meet the people, come on. And I think it'll be huge for everybody to see that. And I want that. I'm more concerned about that than I'm even monetary stuff. And because I do not.
So I just clicked on ban.video and Alex already has a video as of 26 minutes ago called Exclusive. Alex Jones breaks down unlawful show trial. And then a couple thumbnails later is the swastika made out of pride flags.
I want to be the Sandy Hook guy, and I want to show the world that what's been misrepresented is not who I am, but that I have done some things that are wrong, and I didn't do it on purpose, and I apologize, and I want to make it better. Because
Going forward, would you consider providing better training to your employees about how to be sensitive to individuals involved in a tragic event while still taking a stance on government or globalist agendas?
yes, absolutely, and we've been trying to do that, and I was planning to shut down InfoWars 6 years ago when I got married. I promised my wife, I love the crew, I'm sick of this, and then I got stuck in this fight with the system and everything else that's going on.
Yeah, it was the system.
Okay.
The system
now
you
I'm going to
see.
continue
Yeah, okay.
to make it even better, and because other people have said they want to use this case to shut me down.
You, again, don't tell us anything about anyone else has said.
I understand.
That is hearsay. Disregard any hearsay. And I want you just to really just answer the question.
Oh, yes.
Nothing else. As a person wary about and questioning the authenticity of clipped videos, how much precaution do you plan to take with the clipped videos presented on?
Like, he's obviously not at all in any way Charles Manson, but Charles Manson was noted in his trial for trying to figure out what secret combination of words, expressions, that's why you would do those weird things where you just be doing this, would be able to unlock the ability to, like, you know, just walk away without any consequences for his actions. And I feel like Alex Jones and his crew are doing a similar thing where it's like, you are doing everything you could possibly do to fuck this up, like on a fucking monstrously huge scale. Like, after every single one of these sessions, if you go back to InfoWars and record video where you show the judge of your trial with flames behind her talking about how she's maybe a part of a secret pedophile ring, well, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think the lawyers aren't just sitting there for, like, what is it, the Sandy Hook family, just waiting to see what you'll say, and then all of a sudden, like, oh my god, this is so good, I can't wait to show the judge the next day.
And we have paid a massive price for the mistakes we made.
Okay, Mr. Jones.
Yes. Read it again, please.
Is it your stance that there should be no punishment for breaking the law as long as it's done only on rare occasions? Yes or no?
That's, it's not. No, I don't think, even when people do stuff on accident, I think they're still somewhat culpable. But I did not do this consciously.
No, Mr. Jones,
Right.
That's not the question.
Yeah.
What is your definition of blue collar?
So what, do you just lie unconsciously? That's even worse. That's a huge danger. We shouldn't let you on the air.
I'm talking about people
Oh, I have no idea what's happening right now.
I think are great, who are working so hard that they don't have time to be involved in the weird esoteric bubbles of the liberals or the conservatives or anybody. I can't even keep track
not the question.
of what the liberals are doing or the conservatives, the libertarians or the transhumanists.
So your definition of blue collar is people who work so hard they can't follow all these things you're saying. What is your definition of blue collar?
My definition of blue collar is the working
Or the
man and woman
transhumanists
who keep their head down and keep the whole world running, and in my experience, generally are not even paying attention to politics.
Where did you get the idea that jury are all blue collar?
I mean, I've seen statistically, I read in news articles in Austin that a lot of times it's.
Okay, don't tell us what you've read, remember?
Where did I hear?
No.
Why did you?
Yeah, it's a bad question. Where did you get the idea? Because if the place you got the idea is from someone else, then you can't tell us that. So it's a tricky question for me to ask you. I'll agree with that. Okay. What compensation would you believe to be appropriate?
What compensation do I think appropriate? Despite these numbers that were presented the best week we ever had, that's when COVID was starting, and there was a run on storable
I'm
food
so curious.
nationwide, and so they.
Mr. Jones.
No, but I'm just saying.
We don't.
Well,
What
speaking of
compensation would you believe to be appropriate? It doesn't really matter about that.
I understand, but I can answer the question however I wish. I'm not barred from talking about where we're at financially.
No, you are at this stage. Right now, the question is what compensation would be appropriate?
Any compensation above $2 million will sink us and we'll be shut down.
It's not how it will affect you. It's not your quarterlies. It's not how well or bad you're doing. What do you think would be an appropriate compensation? Sweet Jesus.
I mean, I think I've explained to people we're not just some little internet show, and I'm telling myself this when I'm telling them that you need to really pay attention to what you're doing, because everything you say is going to get looked at and zoomed in on. And even if you didn't mean it for harm, it can be turned around for harm. So you need to really realize you have power. It's like the Spider-Man thing: with great power comes great responsibility. And I definitely have underestimated how powerful InfoWars was. Because I'm always thinking,
who's Uncle Ben, Alex? I need to know.
Myself small.
Is it Paul Joseph Watson?
And you know,
with my power.
The last 4 or 5 years, how big we are.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. I appreciate your time and testimony. You may return to council table.
Thank
you. Alex, damn, it's not a good day, was it? Was that as good for you as it was for the rest of us?
All right, Mr. Reynolds, do you have another witness for us?
I do not, Your Honor.
So defense rests.
Yes, Your Honor.
Plaintiff rests and close.
Correct, Your Honor.
Defense rests and close.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
I was surprised he didn't say, we rest our case. You rest your case. Well, I thought that was just a figure of speech. Case closed. Oh, God. All right. And now we have to see what Alex Jones decided to record as soon as this happened.
Is it true that,
which you know they're all going to be watching behind the scenes.
Judge rescinded her unlawful gag order? And if so, what does it mean for the future of this case?
The judge did a lot. She put orders in a month ago saying I couldn't say I was innocent, couldn't have to say free speech, and a whole bunch of other stuff. She then rescinded that because she thought the Court of Appeals would overturn it, and then she kind of reissued it again on the eve of the trial, not this last Friday, but Friday before last. And it's just unprecedented. I'm not supposed to say I'm innocent. She says I'm guilty, but I'm not supposed to even let the jury know that that's happened. This is the new model the deep state's using all over the country. Steve Bannon couldn't cross-examine people in his criminal trial 2 weeks ago in D.C.
This is going to play real well.
So witnesses against him.
Great work.
The judge said, no, you can't ask questions. So that's basically the same thing in a criminal trial. Also, they have all our financials. They have all our text messages. They have all the stuff. And they play
yeah, because your lawyers leaked
like,
them.
Oh, you do have an email. Well, I always said I have a private email that my nanny assistant uses for household stuff. And I do have things sent to me that she gives me, but I don't touch.
You said clear as day.
So they try to.
Of course you would do this, by the way, but you said as clear as day. It's like I don't send emails. No, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't send emails. I don't do that. And then right afterwards, like, can you see what this is? You're holding it upside down. Like turns it back around. It's like, yeah, that's you sending an email. I must have dictated that to my secretary.
To make that a huge deal. But again, all you've seen is my email.
Oh yeah, it's against court orders. Yeah, he's done it every single day. Like they told him, like they had to sit the lawyers down and flat out say to them, he cannot discuss this trial with anyone other than you, the lawyers, the legal team. And they were like, yes, Your Honor, we understand, Your Honor.
Everything, and they were saying I was perjuring myself in there because they had all these text messages and stuff. Well, how'd they get those? They got them from the lawyers.
Oh yeah, the Rickroll in the background. I can hear that.
So that was going to be my question is, so his lawyer said that your lawyer accidentally sent text messages, 2 years worth of text messages to him, and he kind of laughed about it like it was some newfound information. Can you tell us what was going on with that?
When they started subpoenaing us and suing me 4 years ago, and then the court shut down for a year and a half because of COVID. So that's why there's that big space. So this would have been taking like 2 years, 2.5 years. When they sent that to me, I did a cursory search, but I'm not really a technical guy, and there wasn't anything. But I went ahead and handed it over to the lawyers, so if they found anything, they could give it to them. And I know they have it in Connecticut, and they just said they never got it here, but then they haven't. So it's been a lot of games getting played, and this is a huge, complex case because we turned over hundreds of thousands of emails. They gave us search terms. We gave them those.
Okay, so if you didn't catch that part, basically he lied. Sorry, he told, well, this is what he said under oath, that he hadn't had any text messages or emails related to Sandy Hook. He told the other lawyers that, and he's like, yeah, there's nothing I can submit to you during discovery because I don't have any text messages. I can't find any in my phone that say anything about Sandy Hook. Meanwhile, he'd been sending one to Paul Joseph Watson that was clearly about Sandy Hook. And he's like, I don't have any emails that I can submit to you. So he never submitted that for discovery. So it's 100%, like, that's why the other lawyer was giddy when they accidentally received this treasure trove of information and couldn't believe it, obviously.
And then they didn't believe that I wasn't in the InfoWars system because I got rid of my InfoWars email a long time ago because it was just getting too filled. Right. And so that's all a side issue. They continue to try to change the subject, you know, acting like we're hiding something when we're not. And so it's just wild. But the bigger issue is if they're able to use this to silence us, and the plaintiff's lawyers have said in the news, we want to shut Alex Jones down. But we're not allowed to tell the jury that. And then they also try to imply that I think the jury's fake or isn't real. I've never said that. I've said the judge is trying to manipulate and script what information they get, which I think everybody can clearly see is going on. But nothing they really say makes sense when you go, well, wait, you have all those videos, you have all the company emails, you have all the text messages, but you didn't give them to us. You accidentally gave them to us. What does that even mean? I mean, it's total gaslighting, next level. And a lot of it is
gaslighting or gas fighting?
We've had different lawyers on this case that have
fighting?
been sanctioned by the judge and judges and run off the case. You see them threatening to sanction him massive amounts of money. That runs most people off, but he's a tough criminal lawyer, and that's why we brought in a tough criminal lawyer, because all the civil lawyers, they ran off the cases. So they ran off a bunch of our lawyers, and then things would happen like they would just produce everything and not put bait stamps on it. Well, how do you put bait stamps on 200 and something thousand emails that we gave them in Connecticut? 80-something thousand they wanted with their search terms in Texas. And so that's where the games have been played, is that the amount we gave them, some of it was done sloppily because it's so big. But that's what happens in most big cases. Like when somebody sues Monsanto and the court says give them all the documents, Monsanto will dump 10 million documents on you. And they're not bait stamping and all doing all that either.
So this was one of the big complaints that the lawyers for the Sandy Hook parents had, was that he was just data dumping. And like, obviously it's incredibly expensive and you try to just run the other lawyers dry financially if you just give them hundreds of thousands of documents and don't tell them what they are or the relevancy to the case, in the attempt to obviously try and obfuscate what you've actually done. So that's what Alex Jones was doing. Just give them, hundreds, give them everything, let's just data dump all this kind of guy, give them all the garbage. And they were able to still find some very important information inside there. It was actually what the other legal team accidentally sent to their lawyers that turned out to have the treasure trove of things that Alex Jones directly lied about. So he lied about, under oath, that he did not send texts related to Sandy Hook after this had happened. He had no text on his phone about Sandy Hook. He also lied under oath that he had sent no emails about Sandy Hook, and they had both of them then. That's like the glorious, probably the best moment of the entire trial.
You physically can't do it. And then there's no evidence in any of the emails. There's no no information. I'm telling people go lie. I'm saying we're making money off lies. None of that's true. We're just a radio show on TV that just covers news articles and gives our opinion on things, and then we go out and do some original
He
reporting.
seems a little more reserved
like at the Reporter or at January 6th or whatever.
Do you think that, or would you say that this negative publicity is affecting InfoWars at all?
The debanking and the deplatforming and all the rest of it.
So you remember when Alex Jones tried to lie and say that he hadn't gone on InfoWars and made graphics of the judge on fire? Look at a single freeze frame of it. He then tried to pass off this apparently was Lady Liberty and the flames of justice. Like, I can't believe he had the audacity to do this in the middle of the trial. Like, maybe wait for like months after you've already been sentenced.
My lawyer told me, don't get into financial stuff till the end, you'll be directed by the judge. Then I'm watching Heslin in the car driving over here, and he says InfoWars is bankrupt. We filed for bankruptcy. So then I think, well, I'm allowed to talk about that when he's talking about what's going on. That is crazy. How come he gets to talk about bankruptcy, which I think is fine, and then I can't talk about it while they're up there lying with the $65 million I made last year number. They know they're lying. They know that's not true. That's coming out in the bankruptcy court. It's one of the
You said that out loud. That was one of the numbers that you agreed to during the questions. The Q&A from the jury, that was the number you said out of your mouth.
reasons we did it was to in federal court go, here's the real numbers, so these lies can stop. These people are editing tapes, they're manipulating information, they're lying to the public, they're a bunch of ambulance chasing rats who are
By the way, he's not supposed to be doing this with anyone other than his legal team. He was specifically instructed not to speak to anyone about the case or the trial except with his lawyers. That was it. And he's just out here fucking screaming this shit. The rats.
We're failures. And it doesn't matter. America's waking up, the world's waking up, and we told the truth. That judge today said, you lied on the stand and said you've declared bankruptcy. What the hell are they talking about? It's all over the damn news. This is insane.
She's saying there's a difference between declaring bankruptcy and saying I'm bankrupt because that hasn't been determined by the court. And they're saying that's going to taint the jury against
The fact is, why is Heslin allowed to say it and he doesn't get admonished, but then I am?
So you're the guy with the money.
No, big corporate media are the people that take WMD money from the big defense contractors and then blame Iraq and invade it and kill millions.
But you're the guy being sued here.
I've never, listen, I'm not being sued. This judge has already found me guilty in a kangaroo court. Austin is
I'm not being sued.
Austin is extremely famous for indicting Rick Perry and for going after all these other people like Tom DeLay.
See, and this is the difference in, in real life or on a show, he can just go on any tangents he wants when he doesn't like the question, just go all over the place. But in the courtroom, he wasn't allowed to. And every single time he tried, which was almost every single time, the judge had to reel him back in and be like, no, Alex, that wasn't the question. No, Alex. Or like the other legal team would have to be like, objection, Your Honor. He's not answering questions. Sustained.
This is a political lynch mob. People ask, why do I live here? My family's been here for a long time. I like Austin. But I do intend down the road to move out of this jurisdiction because it's weaponized. Just like in D.C., Steve Bannon didn't even get to cross-examine witnesses against him in his criminal trial. This is dangerous, and the left is panicking because America has totally turned against you. God bless. I gotta go, okay?
Because America has turned against you. Wow. I think your own legal team turned against you. Anyways, we're still waiting to hear what the deliberations are, but apparently the defense has filed an emergency motion. Yes.
We filed an emergency motion for protection this morning. I want to outline a little bit of the facts behind that. A couple weeks before trial, a file transfer link was sent to the plaintiff's attorneys, specifically Mr. Bankston. That link linked up a lot of files that shouldn't have been connected to it. Mr. Bankston immediately recognized that the files contained therein were confidential, attorney-client privilege, and contained medical records of people, a whole variety of.
Absolutely astounding. They're doing this now, of all times. I mean, I guess they had time to confer, sit down, and be like, yeah, that was a whoopsie. Okay, don't worry. We'll get it all retracted. If we can get it retracted, the rest of the world and the jury will forget about it. Yeah, forget about it.
Things that should not be turned over. And he pointed that out to me.
Were you sentient yesterday in the room when you were sitting there and he said it point blank to your face? When he was like 12 days ago, your own legal team sent me your documents and did not stipulate that it was protected or privileged. And so here we are. And you were just like, what's he mean by that? Where's he going with this? Well, I'm glad you had time to Google what had happened to you or look up on Twitter what had happened to you and realize how big of a fuck up it was. And now you're standing here being like, oh yeah, that was, we have to file an emergency motion.
I responded to him, what he said. I take it this was sent in error. And I responded to him and I said, it has been sent in error. Please disregard the link. I will work on preparing a new one. I believe, based on that communication, that that's what was going to occur. I mean, we have a situation here which is akin to me mistakenly giving him the key to a room, and you know, he opens the door to the room, and instead of finding what he expected to find, he sees other doors. One door is marked confidential medical records. Another door is...
Are you explaining to the judge what happened? He knows. We all know. I have no legal expertise. I don't need a metaphor to understand what happened and how badly you fucked up. It's as if he opened the door to a room, and within that room was a secret, and that secret was actually perjury, and he saw that. And so we would ask that you close a couple of those doors and rescind the keys if possible. That's basically what happened, Your Honor. I'm trying to explain it in terms you'll understand.
Marked attorney-client privilege. Another door is marked attorney work product. Another door is marked confidential.
You never said this was attorney-client privilege. If you had, the other lawyer wouldn't have been able to say or do what he did.
Communications. And he recognized that and told me, I don't think you meant to give me this key. And I said, please throw it away. And
I said, please throw it away. As if a gift of that size, the other team is just going to sit back and be like, oh, sure, yeah. I mean, honor calls for this. Certainly, certainly, as you wish.
Apparently, at some point thereafter, he said, you know what, I'd kind of really like to see what's behind those doors. And so he took that key and he went back in and he unlocked and went into each one of those doors. And that's why we're here seeking protection under the Texas Rules of Civil Procedure as well as the court's confidentiality order. We are very concerned about the records.
I'm the one who's supposed to mispronounce words.
Particularly the medical records. It's very, very concerning to us. And that's why we are asking for the relief that they return all the documents, that they destroy any copies that they have. Another thing that's concerning, and I have to, I hate to be...
Now, keep in mind, we're pretty far into this trial. This judge has had to deal with a mountain of bullshit. And in addition to that, Alex Jones has been making videos on his stream about how she is potentially part of some kind of pedophilic organization or group, and showing images of her literally on fire and stuff like that. I don't think she's in any mood to be able to entertain the clown shoesery that is going on. But I am curious how hard the gavel will come down on this.
Put into this position by the conduct of plaintiff's counsel, it appears that they want to have a mistrial in this case. At any time, they could have come to the court and asked for a ruling. Instead, they rooted through attorney-client privilege materials, work product materials, and then put them before the jury and said to Mr. Jones on the stand, that's how I know you lied to me. Your attorneys screwed up and sent this to me.
Yeah.
That is grounds for a mistrial, Your Honor.
Oh, damn. Oh, wow, what a Hail Mary. Hey, you got to admire it. You got to admire it. I mean, That's ground. Your actions, your fuck up on every imaginable level is grounds for a mistrial. What precedents that would set? If your lawyers are completely and utterly inept, even though they're expensive, these were not like appointed by the state or anything, but like, yes, if you were completely and utterly inept, that's grounds for a mistrial. Absolutely. Hey, you don't know what you're doing, even though you're paid to do it.
And that's why, in addition to the request that they
what a play.
delete the information from their servers and delete the link, we're also requesting at this point, unfortunately, a mistrial.
Okay. Mr. Mason?
Sure.
Oh, I'm so excited. The other lawyer has been on fire. He must be riding such a high after yesterday, being all over everything. I mean, if I was him, I wouldn't read the news, you know? You don't want that.
Let's correct all of that, Your Honor. First, let me just go through the facts that they were said. This link of materials was sent to me. It was sent to Mr. Ogden. It was sent by Mr. Reynolds' legal assistant, also to Mr. Reynolds, also to Mr. Magliola. Okay? As I informed Mr. Reynolds, we started downloading those materials. I was busy on trial prep. I told my paralegal, get these on our server, download everything there. All right. A little bit after he gets this stuff downloading, it's like, wait a second, this file that we now have on our server has clogged up our entire server. It's 300 gigs. What's going on? So at that point, which again, materials in my possession at that moment. At that point, I notified Mr. Reynolds, and under Rule 193.3 about inadvertent production. All right. It's funny to me that in this motion, Mr. Reynolds actually blocked quotes 193.3 so I know he knows how to read it. What he still hasn't done, at the moment he is up here requesting a mistrial, is he hasn't followed the rule. Even today, late has not followed the rule. The rule requires that production is, any privilege is waived. Any privilege is waived if within 10 days, or if you order a shorter time, but within 10 days, the producing party of when they actually discover, so 10 days from the moment I told them, that they identify specifically the material or information produced and state the privilege asserted. I have not heard any privilege. I have never heard a privilege asserted over any document. I certainly have not had specific documents identified and what their privilege is. If that happens, and he does identify specific material or information, we must return the specified material information while the court rules on the privilege. None of that has happened. What's interesting to me is this is not the first time that materials like this have been inadvertently produced in this case. As you may remember from prior hearings, Mr. Barnes inadvertently produced materials. Now in that case, some of that information ended up coming out. They ended up letting you keep some of it.
Hey, Nintendo, thank you for the $5.
To recap, the lawyer gave the other side damning evidence that not only destroys his case, but proves that he was withholding evidence and that his client is perjuring himself. The best case scenario is that this lawyer is just stupid.
Well, I'll be honest. I think it's kind of
Mr. Hutz, do you know you're not wearing any pants?
What? Ah! I moved for a bad court thingy.
You mean a mistrial?
Yeah. That's why you're the judge and I'm the law-talking guy.
The lawyer.
It's pretty much 100% that. Excuse me. I see some people saying, like, what if that was the plan all along? I was like, that's one hell of a long game. If ultimately they're like, all right, we're fucked. What you should maybe do is just really lean into the malpractice stuff to the point that you get disbarred, and then maybe, just maybe, I'll be able to appeal somehow that my lawyer was inept, and then that could work, maybe?
Plaintiffs believe it is downright perverse. We ask you to deny.
Downright perverse?
Yes, Your Honor. I think it's instructive to actually look at the text of the email that Mr. Bankston sent to me, where he says
yeah, that would be a terrible precedent.
He was downloading the material, but
can you imagine the amount of mistrials there would be if every single time it was like, my lawyer sucked? It's like, oh, your lawyer sucked. Oh, we didn't know that. Okay, let's just do this whole thing again then.
Turned it over to authorities. Turned it over to who are you turning it over to? Are you allowed to say?
I've been asked by the January 6th committee to turn their
I mean, I don't know that you get to stop that anyway.
Well, if they subpoenaed them, it would be a very different story.
Well, they're going to now. They know about them. They know they exist. They know you have them.
We're on TV. There's a camera there. There's a camera there. There's a camera there. Yeah, oh no, they know. The world knows. even if by some like magical, I don't know, potion that they're capable of pulling this off, where within the next 24 hours they were able to try and seal as many documents as possible related to this. Again, yeah, the cat is literally out of the bag in this one. You know, it's running around the courtroom screaming. It's just vomiting all over Alex Jones. This is ridiculous. Do you expect the jury to honestly have seen that yesterday and suddenly be like, all right, so we understand that there was an emotional moment and we can't speak of it because it's been stricken from the record. Please forget in your minds what you saw about Alex Jones potentially committing perjury live in the courtroom.
I think that you didn't tell me if you really are trying to move for mistrial or that was just a throwaway.
No, we are moving from mistrial.
It's like the 17th time or something.
I thought it was gonna be like 6. That was gonna be like, you tried to do that like 6 times. Sorry, that was the 17th time you've asked for a mistrial. That word must have no meaning at this point. Your Honor, we'd like to file a motion for a mistrial. She's like, oh, sure you would. Sit down, honey. All right, just sit down. Come on. Like, what are you doing? All right, how much longer do you need to wait for this? I already have a number in my mind that I'm gonna make your client pay. It's large. Let's say it's over 300.
All right, I think that concludes the hearing. Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you.
Wow, what a swing and a miss. All right, I'll check out your link now, Winston. Judge denies Alex Jones' attorney request for mistrial. A Texas judge on Thursday denied a request for a mistrial from the attorney for right-wing conspiracy theorist Alex Jones in a trial that will decide how much in damages is awarded to the parents of the Sandy Hook victim who won a default judgment against Jones. A hearing about the request for mistrial, which was held in a jury conducted on its first day of deliberations of defamation and intentional infliction of emotional distress claims, was centered around a disclosure in court on Wednesday. In a stunning moment, as he cross-examined Jones on Wednesday, Mark Bankston, the attorney for the Sandy Hook parents, revealed Jones' attorney had messed up and sent him 2 years of records from Jones' phone. Jones' attorney, Federico Andino Real, on Thursday requested the hearing that Bankston delete the phone records and ask for a mistrial. Kind of 12 days late on that, but Judge Maya Aguera Gamble, who's overseeing the case, suggested Real could not tell whether his motion for mistrial was serious or not. She noted that he had repeatedly moved for mistrial during various court proceedings and been denied each time. After Reynal indicated that he was serious in asking for a mistrial, Gamble denied the request. Reynal has also asked for 10 days to review the phone records so he could move to prevent the release of some of the information in them as privileged. Gamble denied the request and received for 10 days, but did give him some time to review the material and research whether any privileges apply. You know what? The fact that the other lawyer has revealed that the Jan 6 committee has now requested that information, that is a shell shock for Jones. Those are thousands and thousands of his private text messages, thousands and thousands of his emails that now all have to be turned over to the January 6th committee. He never would have had to do that. They wouldn't have even known that this existed had this fuck up not happened. That's how fucking intense this is. I think you should try to work on it today and see what you can get done. During the hearing, Bankston said the committee investigating the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol had expressed interest in obtaining Jones' phone records. Bankston said he has also received interest in the records from law enforcement and other parties suing Jones over his lies regarding the Sandy Hook shooting. Bankston said he was inclined to turn the information over, barring an order from a judge not to do so. I mean, fuck. If I was Jones and I took any of this seriously, which I know he doesn't, he seems to think he's got some kind of magical power, he's going to get away with all of this, I would be screaming at those lawyers, you need to say immediately what is privileged and I need that stuff deleted before it gets in anyone else's hands. Probably too late. Probably too late. It's probably already been turned over to enough people. There's probably already, I'm sure, a server somewhere that's hosting a 300 gigabyte file for eternity. I don't know that you can stop that anyway, Campbell said in reference to the January 6th committee requesting the material, noting they would likely subpoena it if it wasn't voluntarily handed over. Bankston declined to tell CNN which law enforcement agencies might have expressed interest to him about Jones's phone records. The January 6th committee had no comment on the matter Thursday. Jones was a central player on January 6th. He was at the U.S. Capitol rallying up protesters, though he did not storm inside the building and denounced any suggestion that he had been involved in the planning of the violence at the Capitol. Jones also testified before the Jan 6 committee, but he said on his show that he'd repeatedly asserted his Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. Holy shit.
I've been contacted by a bunch of law enforcement, Judge. Please don't cut any of the feed this morning. They're all watching. And the January 6 committee's involved, and why my ex-wife's involved. Haven't talked to her in years, and just, it's a free-for-all, ladies and gentlemen. And none of it's true. Absolute bull.
I mean, all of it's true. You might want to say, like, there's nothing in there that can incriminate me. That would be different than saying that this never happened. It actually, like, we all saw it happen. We were watching you.
It is not my whole phone, and it is not me perjuring myself or dodging things.
Okay, so no one said it was your whole phone. That's yeah, holy shit, Alex. I mean, he's doing that thing where he just tries to confuse everyone who's watching and be like, oh, these are lies. You can find the truth somewhere in the middle.
Because as soon as he said, oh, we got your text messages, I went, well, of course you got it from my lawyers, because I gave it to him. When I said I've gone through my messages.
Your lawyers weren't supposed to give it to the other lawyers. Yeah, I mean, technically they are. They were supposed to submit everything during discovery, but they didn't. So you were about to have a nice little, like, oh, we got away with that one.
That means I've given it to my lawyers to say, here, because there's nothing on my phone. Well, we have your whole phone now, and we have the Sandy Hook messages. And I said, wow, this is your Perry Mason moment. Tell me, please, what it is. Well, your lawyer accidentally sent us 10 days ago or 12 days ago, whatever it was he said, I'll play the clip in a moment, accidentally sent us your whole phone.
Oh, he's going to play the clip.
So they're going, And I go, well, I do know that I gave the Texas lawyers and the Connecticut lawyers the current phone I had when they subpoenaed it a few years ago. And I dug around and found one of my old phones and just handed it off to IT and said, whatever the search terms are, give it to them. And it turned.
You know what destroys every piece of this, by the way, outside of the fact that he just lies professionally, is the fact that his lawyers filed that motion this morning. They actually came up and they were like, oh, by the way, that was an oopsie. I'll explain it to you in terms that you'll understand, Judge. Doors, locks, you know, that kind of shit. But we'd ask that that gets stricken from the record. Oh, and also mistrial, please. One thing I want to remind everybody about, by the way, is that I don't know if you were getting this feeling, but I was, as someone who covers Alex Jones a lot. All the other ghouls that are out there, that are part of his like extended Alex Jones universe of friends, namely the worst one being Joe Rogan, but so many people over the last little while have started to do this whole Alex Jones, I don't know, rehabilitation tour. You've got Joe Rogan, who was basically bringing him on his show right after they'd had a massive fight. They were actually like threatening to fight each other, like, you know, UFC style cage match. He brings him on and he wants to talk about Sandy Hook and completely downplays everything Alex Jones has done for Sandy Hook. And that goes on for a lot of other people. Tim Pool was bringing him on a show. He went on Tim Pool's show, and the two of them are doing this whole, like, it's kind of funny, right? It's a meme. Alex Jones is always right. It seems like he's always right. The Quartering goes on this big panel with Alex Jones in there, starts playing into the memes, starts saying, hey, you know, put this in, put $1 in the Alex Jones was always right jar. Time and time again, people are proved wrong. And we can't forget Glenn Greenwald, of course, who just recently did that press circuit Q&A for a movie documentary on Alex Jones and did all the same moves.
All this stuff is, so I just wonder, as all this stuff is happening, how much more of what Alex Jones has talked about will turn out to be right? Because, you know, when he goes on Joe Rogan's show and he's like, you know, the cell phones and the human-animal hybrids and we're all just like, oh, geez, this is so crazy. And now this keeps happening. Look, I don't think it's proof that Alex Jones is right about everything, but certainly it's starting to put doubt in the minds of his critics when they're kind of like, well, you know, maybe.
Bad misinformation spread by Alex, intentionally or unintentionally. I don't believe he does it intentionally. I don't know the man, but it is funny to watch every time this dude comes out as correct. Alex Jones was right again. Evergreen.
Once I'm taken down, then all the dominoes fall.
Well, it's also clickbait. There's also a thing, if you say Alex Jones, Sandy Hook, and you put in a title, a certain amount of people are just going to click on it.
Here's the key. Then they say more people are showing up in Connecticut. More people are coming to their houses, which they are. Because the media is all over the news saying there's a big conspiracy here. Alex Jones says it doesn't happen. And so people then hear it and they think, oh, you know, it's like looking for the Mothman or something. They're all running up there and the media is saying it in my name. And I'm saying, no, I believe it happened years ago. And so then I'm getting the blame and the attacks and the demonization and the threats for what the corporate media is saying over and over again, that I'm saying that it didn't happen.
And the families are getting the threats, and the families are getting the attacks, and the families are getting called crisis actors.
Yes.
Identify with it myself.
I can't stress enough how fucked up that interaction is. This is Alex Jones post all the horrible things that happened to the Sandy Hook parents, including one of the Sandy Hook parents committing suicide, getting out there and stating, I said it at the beginning, but then I said afterwards I believed it, but then the media ran with it, and then they made me into the Sandy Hook guy, and then of course all these people showed up at their homes and they started harassing them, but that wasn't because of me. I only was asking questions at the very start of it, and then Joe Rogan helping him out by being like, and then the parents got harassed, and then all this stuff happens, and it was clickbait ultimately, because if they look up Alex Jones Sandy Hook, they get lots of hits. So it was the media's fault. Wasn't you really? It was the media. You know, you admitted you made a mistake, and afterwards you came out afterwards and said that was a bad thing for me to have done, which is so very fucked up, because during the course of this trial, if you've watched the amount of Alex Jones clips, it wasn't just Alex Jones, and by the way, it wasn't him taking phone calls. It was him outright, very clear as day, saying multiple times, this is a false flag attack, we have evidence, blah blah blah, these people are plants, the children, you know, there's asbestos in the walls, there's a whole bunch of chemicals in the water, there's a bunch of crisis actors, kids spinning in circles, the parents are acting, no one actually died, all this kind of stuff. That was just coming out of Alex Jones's mouth. That's just what that was part of his show. And then he would bring on experts who was they were the biggest collection of crackpots, Holocaust deniers. Fucking one of them was like someone who was like accused of child stalking, stuff like that. Huge weirdos, absolute weirdos with no credentials, by the way. That's why during the course of this trial, it was so refreshing to hear people say, do you vet their credentials? And having the producer of the InfoWars show be like, well, we take them at face value, and then we rely upon the intelligence of our audience to be able to find the truth. And so it's okay. So you guys actively lie for a living, or you will platform people who are lying, and then you're hoping that your audience won't believe you. That's what you're saying. Like that's exactly, like, if you think about it at face value, that's what it means. We hope our audience doesn't believe us when we're really fucking wrong and we say really horrifying things. We hope they're intelligent enough to realize how bad we are, because we have that kind of faith in our audience. That's how we see this whole thing, which is fucked up. And this is the thing that's been pissing me off for so long, is for the last, I don't know, I would say 3 years, we've had this rehabilitation tour of Alex Jones. We've had the Tim Pools coming on a regular basis being like, oh, you know, the leftists and the liberals, they're all pissed off because Alex Jones is always right. The Quartering thinks this is absolutely hilarious. The memes, you know, you've got Alex Jones popping up on there on a regular basis now. And now we have Glenn Greenwald. We haven't even gotten to him, where he like softens the entire Sandy Hook question by saying like, you know, I know what it's like to be attacked by people who lie for a living, so I understand. I get it. I know why you'd probably want to push back.
Yes.
Identify with it myself, that when, you know, people who lie for a living are telling you that you're a liar, when people who are whose job it is to spread disinformation are accusing you of doing that, you kind of want to dig in a little bit and not give an inch to people who you know aren't criticizing you in good faith. But what is it about kind of how social media works, about how kind of groups function? Have you thought about some of the psychological and cultural dynamics that led you to make some of those mistakes in Sandy Hook?
Well, sure. Think of this like a 1,000-page book. And Sandy Hook in my life is like a quarter page.
He goes on to say that, you know, he admitted he was wrong about Sandy Hook, but then right afterwards in the same sentence was like, but Jussie Smollett, I was totally right about Jussie Smollett. So some of the things I'm wrong about, some of the things I'm right about. At the end of the day, you make one mistake, people want to like persecute you forever because of that. And then boom, it was just like, some of Glenn's questions were so softball and such layups that Alex Jones didn't even recognize them. He didn't even recognize that he was getting like a freebie. So then he would sometimes be like, oh no, actually I did that. And you're like, well, what you mean to say is you did something that you felt was patriotic. You were being patriotic. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it was patriotism. I was doing it because I love America. I love America so much I'm willing to lie for her on a regular basis, every day, for money and pills.
I wanted to tell you to your face, because I wanted you to know that I am a mother, first and foremost, and I know that you're a father. And my son existed. You're still on your show today trying to say that I'm implying that I'm an actress, that I'm deep state. You have this week. And I don't understand. Truth is so vital to our world. Truth is what we base our reality on. And we have to agree on that to have a civil society. Sandy Hook is a hard truth. Hard truth. Nobody would want to ever believe that 26 kids could be murdered. Nobody would ever want to believe that. I understand people not wanting to believe that, actually. I don't want to believe it. But I've, since that day, dedicated my life to keeping kids safe. It's our responsibility. I used to think it was the school's responsibility. It's actually our responsibility. And I've dedicated my life to that. And having a quarter of Americans doubt that Sandy Hook happened or doubt the facts around Sandy Hook is not conducive to keeping our kids safe. It's not. And it's our responsibility to keep our kids safe. This happened almost 10 years ago. We've had over 350 school shootings since then. We have to keep our kids safe. Jesse was real. I am a real mom.
In defamation cases, it is so important to hear from the plaintiffs because how did they suffer? What was the impact of these statements on their lives? The jury needs to hear this. And for the parents of a 6-year-old who was murdered to explain what it was like to have to defend his existence because of Jones's statements that have already been determined to be false and defamatory, that is very, very powerful. On top of the fact that earlier in the day that she testified, Jones went on his InfoWars show and insulted the parents.
And I'm looking at it, and I'm watching what's being said and what's going on, and it really then makes it clear what happened.
How does it make you feel knowing that that was said today by this man on his radio show while Jesse's father was testifying in that same seat you're sitting in?
I've had a hard time finding words today. It makes me feel astounded in a bad way. It's horrific, horrific, horrific.
Unbelievable, unbelievable. And so it becomes a legitimate question. Why should the jury believe that Jones is being sincere when he says he never intended to harm the plaintiffs, that he had no agenda against them, and he apologizes? In fact, when he first took the stand, he tried to apologize, but look what happened.
And before we do that, I just do want to say this on record, because I've said it many times. I apologize to both.
Sustained. So, Mr. Jones, one of the instructions I just gave you is that this is not a conversation. Question and answer.
So she got the monologue, but not me. I got it.
So again, he says he's sorry, but then seems to criticize Lewis by saying she monologued. And by the way, his response would seem to support his contention that this whole trial is unfair and a violation of his rights. Anyway, Jones would go on and he would testify about his background. He would testify about InfoWars, how they pick stories, how they talk about it. And he again said that he never intended to hurt the plaintiffs. He didn't directly. Farrah Gamble had heated and testy exchanges.
Were you instructed that there were some things you could not testify about?
Yes.
And do you remember what they were?
Yes.
And what were they? Just top level.
I'm trying to remember that. First, there was a document you put out saying, "Don't talk about free speech. Don't say I'm innocent," and a bunch of other stuff. And then that got withdrawn. I believe you withdrew it. I think called motion limiting.
Okay. So you don't remember?
No. I remember currently.
Stop. You believe everything you say is true, but it isn't. Your beliefs do not make something true. That is what we're doing here. Just because you claim to think something is true does not make it true. It does not protect you. It is not allowed. You are under oath. That means things must actually be true when you say them. Don't talk.
And then there was this weird back and forth over whether Alex Jones was chewing gum in court.
Spit your gum out, Mr. Jones.
It's not gum.
What is it? Because you're not allowed food or gum of any kind in the courtroom.
I had my tooth pulled a week and a half ago, and I had some gauze in it earlier, and it's been causing me to have some pain.
So you're chewing on your gauze?
Would you like me to show you?
No, I just want you to answer my question.
No, I was massaging the hole in my mouth with my tongue. Right here.
I don't want to see the inside of your mouth.
Oh, no, there's no gum.
Sit down.
It's like you can't make this stuff up. But one of the weirdest things to happen was at the...
Again, no one's going to believe this. When a movie comes out about this, people are all going to think it's fake. They're like, oh God, why do they always go to exaggerate things? That never happened. Fucking look at the transcripts.
Very end of the day. As the judge left, the jury left, Scarlett Lewis, again, the plaintiff in this case, appears to hand something to Alex Jones, maybe Tylenol or something like that. And then he turns to her and Neil Heslin and starts up a conversation with them. He shakes their hands and then tries to apologize, but that is quickly interrupted by one of the plaintiff's attorneys, Wes Ball, and this gets very intense.
And then he's slow.
No, I'm slow. I'll be honest here.
That's it. I'm not talking anymore. You're not doing this. That's not even a thought. That's not the way this goes.
Why, you can't feed them fake videos anymore? No, shut your mouth. Try to shut my mouth. You'll never succeed.
No, shut your mouth. You've been trying to shut my mouth. You'll never succeed.
I think I'm autistic too, buddy.
Shut your mouth? I think
Did you say I'm autistic too, buddy? Wow.
Autistic too? The level of animosity between these sides is just so palpable. And so the question is, what is going to happen next? Who knows?
My prediction is probably lots and lots of money. Like, it's going to be a very, very expensive outcome for him. But we'll see. Who knows? He's trying to hide how much cash he has. He's trying to say that he only has a couple $1 million. Anything more than $2 million will absolutely bankrupt the entire industry, he said. So, I mean, someone in chat said the full amount could be 150. We could see if 150 is going to be an adequate amount.
I'm now going to read the answers given by those jurors. Just the answers. Question 1A, $50,000. Question 1B, $10,000. Question 1C, $50,000. Question 1D, no dollars. Question 2A, $1.5 million. Question 2B, $500,000. Question 3A, $1.5 million, and question 3B, $500,000. Is this your?
Those damages are non-punitive. They will deliver the Oh, okay. So Friday we'll have ideally way more.
Your verdict, the 10 of you who signed it. So say each and all of you, all 10 of you. Yes. All right. Would the attorneys care to inspect the verdict?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
All right. Then I will accept this as a verdict of the jury and order that the clerk enter it upon the minutes of the court. Normally at this time I release the jury, but you are not released. And in fact, my previous orders about not discussing anything you've heard in the case are back in place. You can no longer discuss anything you've heard in here, your decision, or anything at all else.
Can Alex Jones makes videos about it?
I am going to release you from the courtroom, however,
I bet there's already video up.
Order you to return at 8:45 for tomorrow morning. 8:45 tomorrow morning to continue the case. There's some more evidence and another charge at that time. Okay. You can head back. Ms. Matiszek-Steele will help you with whatever you need for tonight, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Thank you.
Like, his whole channel is still filled like guilty until proven bankrupt. Guilty until proven bankrupt. Attorney exposes rights violations in Alex Jones trial. Exclusive, the truth about Alex Jones phone records. And then he's already doing a show. Planet officially plunging into mass starvation, economic collapse. Exclusive, Alex Jones response to the phone data. Yeah, we watched that one already. Jesus.
So the top story in the United States the last 24 hours, trending #1 on every major platform, is Alex Jones's phone has fallen in to the January 6th committee's hands. Here's my lawyer or counselor or advisor, Robert Barnes, give you his take.
Absolutely. I've been doing constitutional law for a long time, and while I am not a representative of InfoWars, I am a representative that cares about the Constitution. And in that capacity, the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th Amendment to the United States Constitution prohibit somebody from illicitly obtaining your attorney-client privilege-protected information. This goes all the way back to Andy Griffith's shows in the 1960s. This is how universally understood this precept and principle is. So what the January 6th committee is doing is violating the 4th Amendment right against unreasonable searches, the 5th Amendment right to due process of law, and the 6th Amendment right to counsel by seizing and stealing attorney-client privilege communications that cannot constitutionally belong to them. It is an outrage that should concern every American because in this case, like so many other cases, Alex Jones is everybody, and everybody is Alex Jones.
Alex Jones is everybody. And what's Alex Jones broadcasting about right now?
You know, you'd think our live show headline would be about Alex Jones and the truth about his phone and was it really true? But no, it's about all of us. Planet officially plunging into mass starvation, economic collapse, and worldwide war.
Yeah, but Kubi, this one's not really accurate.
So I'm staying at my
far.
post. Despite the fact my guts and my flesh tells me get my family and run to the hill.
My flesh.
Imagine being the idiots of God.
And then he's just right back to doing all the same shit.
Or I should say, you
good.
add
Roger
the vote,
Stone is on there.
they each
Look at
got.
this room.
he would have been a loser. Across the board, this was a smashing win for Donald Trump.
Which is only going to make the deep state go crazier. What do you expect to happen in the next 96 days?
She would be the most likely.
Yes, they did. They managed to only play 5 seconds. I wonder.
Oh, so he's a co-host of Infowars. He's like, and I'll take it from one of my lawyers here. He's a constitutional lawyer. He's like, that's right. I don't represent Infowars, but I would like to tell you about why this is egregious before I do my Infowars show.
Why they wouldn't play the whole clip.
All the clips were 5 seconds.
Exactly, because the whole clip would have told the whole truth, which would have led to a
Hold on, we're going to play that clip you mentioned because we talked about it of Andy Griffith, and then we're going to continue with this because this is insane.
Completely.
The top story in the U.S., Alex Jones's phone. Oh my God, it's all over. It's not my phone. It's not even true. Wait to hear about it. Stay with us.
Oh, it's not even your phone. Oh, I didn't know that. Interesting.
All rise. Remember all my instructions, please.
Yeah, he's literally live broadcasting while you're rendering the. Remember my instructions. He's just not even in the room. He's doing Infowars right now.
And if you'll just shut the door. Thank you. All right, you may be seated. I don't think that we necessarily need this part on the record. Just want to go over a few logistics for tomorrow, kind of who your witnesses will be. I don't have any of my paperwork here with me, so just as long as everyone knows who the witnesses will be tomorrow.
Tomorrow we'll be calling Bernard Pettingill, and that'll be our only witness.
All right, so not Mr. Jones.
No, we won't need Mr. Jones.
All right, and do you plan to put on any witnesses?
We got everything we need for Mr. Jones.
Your Honor, just a reminder.
I know, but I thought that you. Oh, it was only going to be across Mr. Jones. That's out also. Okay, so then we'll just have the one witness in the morning. I think I don't think we've given you a charge for tomorrow yet, so we'll have to work on that. If there are any.
I didn't fully hear who the witness was, so I'm not entirely sure who they're
on Crime.
In terms of new videos, I think that's it so far. So I guess we'll have to wait till Friday to hear how bad it can potentially be. Like as of now, we're not all the way there yet. There's multiple verdicts to be handed down, and Sleepy
Predator
wants me to see this. That apparently the Predator is a communist sympathizer.
A crowning achievement in homoerotic alpha bro schlock. Predator is the 1986 film starring greased-up himbos Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jesse Ventura, and Carl Weathers. Inspired by the CIA's Operation Condor, it features an iconic alien that hunts U.S. soldiers who were trying to infiltrate a revolutionary paramilitary camp in Central America. Yup, the Predator is a communist sympathizer.
What the hell are you?
A crowning achievement.
Well, yeah, Comrade Predator. All right, let's see this Alex Jones memes. Not sure when someone did Phoenix right. Oh, sweet.
Hold it!
That's really good. Oh, that's super good. Good memes. Good memes. I saw so many different versions of the I was like, the Curb Your Enthusiasm, that one's too low hanging of a fruit. I was like, of course, like all you got to do is add the dun 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 dun. But that one's good. That one's good. You know, the little extra effort. You know, throw a little bit more in there. I will say, I love that shit. That was really good. Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form, available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
To our gods, Xander Corvus and Peyton L. Just, we are prepared to embark on a mighty jihad in your name. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we are but your humble jester, attempting in vain to get you to laugh. To our valiant knights of the Round Table, Benji Arnie, Tech Tink, Scary Earth Human, Tony, DM Rivera, Resident Scarecrow, Sir Nickus, Mayred, Cheryl Alvarez, Ruby Kelly, Brandon, Words Greenwood. It doesn't matter what I believe, it only matters what I can prove. Egbert Celine, Matthew Scarborough, Stellar Vision, Ariane McCarthy, Daniel Sutton, Coulter Smith, Jenna Tao, Quiet 185, Anna Loves Riley, Omni, Riley and Anna, Poodlehawk, The Tim Caucus, Multimondi, Trevbot, EXE, Brian Ephraim, Lemmy 101, Anthropophojack, Saren 42, Catherine, Ramon Acosta, Incosin, Agent NDN, Violent Orchard, Political Puppy, La Media Panza, Zach Christensen, Todd Buckingham, and Todd Lajeunesse. We raise our mugs and salute our brave heroes off to another glorious conquest.